about home. They're married to real estate.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast for people who love real estate and want to become inspired and informed. Whether you are a newbie real estate agent looking to get tips, learn a thing or two, or maybe you're a savvy property owner who wants to get a jump on the market, this is the place for you. We discuss our passion for real estate and people, and we bring together our personal experiences as well as our guests to learn from each other. You'll hear from experts in sales coaching, real estate law, mortgage lending, investing, and many local business owners on how to grow your business or your investment in real estate. I'm Mairi McCauley.
I'm Mairi Elliot.
I'm Mary Forster.
And we are Married to Real Estate.
Okay, well, welcome everybody, and welcome to podcast number 19. Today we're having a great conversation with a really terrific guy, Tim Robinson. But first, what I'd like to do is check in with my Marys and find out how's life been, Mary McCauley.
Woo, crazy busy. I just listed my sixth listing. So between
happy.
a rental, a condo, and 4 homes. Yeah, at various stages. So, I was like, do I have enough lock boxes? Nope. I have to order more. Do I have enough?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on such fire right now. It's so inspiring to me, right? I'm so impressed.
I love you.
I love you too. And I love the houses you're listing.
Oh,
Yeah,
by the way.
I love the houses you're listing.
They're not just like your average houses. They are like antique, beautiful, gorgeous.
Two next to each other. I actually took a picture to see my sign out in front of 2 houses in a row. I thought that was kind of neat.
That's so great. You're rocking. Yeah. Oh, good.
Yep, I'm doing that, and I'm, making the move to Nashua. Yep, we're up there full time, and I'm going to be listing the Westford house soon too. So
You are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I've gone through 2 dumpsters and probably at least another one. Been in there 17 years. So
Yeah.
It's a lot. But and then I'm getting ready for the Live for Live is doing their annual ride run. It's the 12th year. And that's going to be July 24th.
Would you tell our listeners what Live for Live is?
Sure. Live for Live is a charity that educates and, is anti-domestic violence. It was started by Jody Marchand, who is a Westford resident. In 2010, her husband shot their daughter and killed her, shot Jody in the head. She survived, and then shot himself. So, it's very... personal, for a number of levels. And I'm actually the newly elected president of Live for Live.
Good for you.
So, which has been a learning curve and a half. And I don't ride or run, so it makes the big event really difficult to spearhead. But thank God we have a lot of great volunteers and a lot of people that are supportive. But it's going to be at the 4-H, and we're going to have food trucks and vendor tables and sponsors and stuff.
Okay, great.
So
When
easy
is
to get to.
again,
It's
Mary?
Sunday, July 24th.
Okay, great.
Open to everyone.
Okay, good. We'll keep it.
thanks
Let's
for that
post
plug.
it on our website.
Yeah,
Okay,
great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Absolutely.
And Mayor of Groton. The mayor.
The mayor of Groton.
mayor.
Not quite yet, but I was just joking that I'm going to create that position. I've been hanging out in my little town doing all sorts of little things. I got to tour the new Groton Hill Music Center coming up soon, and it's so beautiful. It's stunning. Our whole committee was taken on this tour. And I could not believe I was in Groton, Massachusetts, in this building because
Well,
we
you
don't
grew up
have
in
it. Yeah,
Groton,
I grew
so-
up there, so I'm used to like tiny little general stores and tiny little things everywhere. But we don't have big venues of anything. The biggest place is the middle school theater.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
And this is so architecturally beautiful. Everything is so well designed for acoustics, and it's a school and a music venue, and it's got a restaurant in it. It's just the coolest place. I cannot wait for it to open. I'm
And when
so
is that?
excited. They're starting a slow rollout starting in September. The school is opening. And then they'll start with some smaller performances. And then by the time we roll around to next summer again, they'll be opened up for their bigger venue music things. Yeah. It's going to be amazing. And then, I'm cooking along, not quite as hot as Mary McCauley over there with all of her 6 listings, but I just got one of my listings under contract, and I've got another buyer going to look at another one today, and then working an off-market deal, hopefully. And, things are moving along.
Your cooking is right.
Yeah, I'm going to make that
Love
college tuition payment. That's going to happen.
That's what I got two. I got 2 kids in college. That's what I'm working for.
That's all I worked for, let me tell you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. They loom, don't they? It's
they
like
do.
August 15th, December 15th.
Big
I
numbers.
know. Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
It's a new world for me.
Yep. And what about you, Mary Forrester?
Well, I've been a little busy and distracted with some kind of stuff at home, and it's kind of, things are coming together, and I'm just showing up one day at a time today.
Yeah.
Just
All right,
showing
I like
up
it.
and feeling blessed,
One
feeling really
foot in front of
blessed
the other.
with lots of family and friends, and so life is going on one day at a time.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
But
And
you
you're
know what the deal
loved.
is.
Yes.
And you know
Yes,
you're
and
loved.
love you.
active in the Rotary. I'm going to be the incoming president of the Rotary.
Good.
Things like
Go,
that. So that'll be
Mary.
kind of fun.
Yay.
And do kinds
Maybe
so.
we'll have to join.
I'm surrounded by
Maybe.
presidents.
Yes.
You're the mayor.
So,
N-
right.
But I need a
Could you be the president of Groton?
Could I be the president of
Maybe
Groton?
I think we should just make
Let's
that.
do that.
All in favor?
Now?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes,
Okay.
okay, it's
All right.
done.
It's done.
Okay. All right. So now that we've entertained our guest, and I'm so excited because we get to talk real estate
Yes.
today,
Woo!
right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a
fun.
good one. I'm
fun.
excited.
It is a pleasure to have Tim Robinson with us today. And, a lot of people around here know about you, Tim, because, Aria Concierge, we talk about it a lot. We talk about it at Legacy Star a lot, my team, but also in Keller Williams, our brokerage here. And so you are a known entity around here. I just want you to know. Tim Robinson is, in full disclosure, married to my niece.
Yes.
And lives in the Washington, D.C. area. He is the co-founder of REI Concierge, which I can't wait for him to tell us about.
Yes.
He's a real estate investor, bold, cautious, and he's brilliant. And also a real estate agent, now a real estate agent in the Washington, D.C. area, lifelong resident of the Washington area, avid traveler, avid. And an adventurer, cycle enthusiast, bicycle enthusiast, and father and husband. 2 wonderful
That's a
sons.
lot of titles.
That's a
He's like
lot.
a unicorn.
He is.
I've never seen one.
I've never seen one of these
Wow.
before.
Tim, so nice to meet you.
Welcome to.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
I warned
Thank
you.
Mary. I don't know if I can live up to that phenomenal introduction. I don't feel like all those things, but thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. So, Tim, you have 1 foot in Massachusetts because your wife is from Massachusetts.
I do.
And so we have indoctrinated him. He doesn't speak
Wonderful.
right yet, though.
Oh, we haven't gotten him to be wicked cool yet.
Not wicked
no,
yet.
he's not
Not
wicked
wicked
cool.
cool.
All right.
But
Working
we'll
on it.
work on it. But Tim, tell us how you got into. Well, first of all, should we start with the REI Concierge?
Yeah, I'd love to hear
so
about
let's hear about
more
REI
about that.
Concierge, and then you can backdoor into the real estate investment world. How about that?
Sure. Yeah, happy to talk about it. And thanks again, guys. It's an honor to be here. Aunt Mary and other Marys. I do call her Aunt Mary.
Yes,
She
he
calls me
does.
Mary,
He
as
does.
my wife says. But
Yep.
yeah, my surrogate aunt, Aunt.
It's very sweet.
Anyways, yeah. So the REI Concierge, we started it, my business partner, Lisa Tilstra, and I started it a little over 2 years ago now. So excited about that. It is a company that we formed. So Adrienne, your niece, is in the Foreign Service. She works for the U.S. Department of State. My partner, Lisa's husband, John, also works for the U.S. Department of State. So that puts Lisa and I in the category of what they call in the government EFMs, or eligible family members.
Okay.
So our role multiple times in our lives is to live overseas and help support our spouses by working however we can, or just raising children, or just kind of supporting the family life. So when we were living in the Netherlands for the past 3 years, I met Lisa actually at the Marine Corps ball in Amsterdam.
Beautiful.
And somehow real estate came up immediately, as it tends to do with real estate investors. I immediately knew she invested in real estate, and I said, let's do lunch. And the seeds of the REI Concierge were planted. So long and short of it is, she came to visit us when she was living in the Alps in France. She came to visit Adrienne and I in The Hague. And she was like, we should really, because we were buying houses. We were investing sight unseen from the Netherlands. She had been doing it for multiple years from Saudi, from the Philippines, and then from the Netherlands. So she brought up the idea as we're having dinner, we should really help other people do this. It is not easy. It is complicated. It is not difficult, but it's not easy. There are a lot of moving pieces. And the next day we said, oh, this is really happening. Let's do this. And We started a company mainly focused on U.S. expats living abroad that are looking to invest in markets in the U.S. More specifically, and this, I mean, we don't turn people away. Obviously, anyone that wants to do this, we can help them with, but very much focused on the FSO or Foreign Service Officer community.
Right.
For multiple reasons. One being that while we live overseas, we do not pay for housing. The U.S. government pays for that. So thank you, taxpayers.
You're welcome.
Wow, I feel that.
Yeah.
You must be living large.
That mansion of yours.
Right.
I hesitate to say surplus money, but there is extra money that doesn't go towards I mean, all of our biggest housing expenses in life are housing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much across the board for American citizens. So when that goes away, there is money to play with and to hopefully invest wisely. So we really found a niche there where we really help people to, I mean, I don't know how deep you want to get into this, but it's from soup to nuts, like we have people that come to us that say, hey, I like the idea of real estate, teach me. And we do that. We say, hey, here's some spreadsheets, run some numbers. This is why it's a good long-term asset. This is what we've done, and this is how you do it. And we have people that are experienced investors and say, I'm terrified to buy from Saudi Arabia. How do I buy in Birmingham, Alabama? And we show them the specifics of how to do that. So it's really whatever, we meet investors where they are in their investing career and really try to provide the value that they need without inundating them with stuff that's unnecessary.
That's great.
And that's kind of,
Is it only purchasing in the United States? Is that what you're focused at, or are you buying properties internationally as well?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
specifically right now in the United States, it's a whole different ball of wax when you start getting into international real estate, just because the laws and, the regulations involving Americans investing in Europe and, much less Asia. Are just, I mean, they're super complicated, just not our forte.
So are they foreign citizens then investing in U.S. or no?
No, they're U.S.
They're
citizens investing.
I always fail to delineate. They're the majority. We have about 90% of our clients are American citizens living abroad.
Okay.
We do have about 10% foreign nationals that have gotten into the market. We have some dual citizens that have citizenship in the U.S. as well as in Europe or South America. But the bulk of it, the majority of it, is American citizens living abroad.
Wow.
When you define turnkey, would you tell them what that means? Because this is largely turnkey property investment, right?
It is, yeah. So turnkey, we have found, this is what Lisa and I started purchasing when we were abroad. Turnkey is I want to say, relatively new industry in the real estate investment world. And it's basically companies that have found economies of scale, and they have utilized their skills in certain cash flowing markets to do the entire process of acquisition, buying a rundown house, renovating a house, bringing on project managers, bringing on in-house leasing specialists, and going, again, I said soup to nuts again. There's got to be a better analogy. But essentially buying a beat up house and then renovating it and getting a tenant in there and then selling the finished product to the end user. So it's turn. I mean, it's just like it sounds. It's turnkey. Like, you don't have to do anything. You basically pick an ugly house, say, I want that one. They say that's going to be $125,000. You say, okay. You wait about 6 weeks and they renovate it, make it up nice, lease it, and put a tenant in there and put it under property management. And best case scenario, start collecting rent checks.
And I did this. I did one.
Yeah.
I'm a guinea pig,
Mary
right?
I remember.
Yes.
And how is that going?
That's
for
going
you?
fine.
Yeah.
We get about maybe 400, 450 a month or something out of it, I would say.
That's
like
awesome.
3 months ago, I'd have been like, that's okay. Right now, that's phenomenal.
Oh, good.
Don't tell me.
No, that's like I don't want to get too much off topic, but I'm in the process of a 1031 exchange right now, selling a house I have here in DC. And I'm under contract on a quadplex in Kansas City with one of our partners through the Aria Concierge. And the numbers on that with the interest rate on an investment property is it's about breaking even.
Wow.
I'm ecstatic about it.
Are you? Oh boy.
Yeah. So it's a very weird, and you guys know this. I mean, you're in the trenches every day, but like, it's turned on its head in the past 3 weeks, even from sellers to buyers market, and then just the interest rates and how that's been progressing over the past 2 months. Like, it's a whole new world than it was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So breaking even, fighting the 8.6 inflation rate, like, rather than having my money in a savings account, I'll take that all day.
And that's what I love about it is what they do is, first of all, they have a great podcast, super podcast, and they
What's
have
the name of the podcast, Mairi?
Aria Concierge, right?
That's right.
That's it. The REI
Okay.
Concierge podcast. We didn't get creative at all. We just said, hey, our name's going to be this across everything.
I just wanted to make sure our listeners could find
That's right.
you.
Mary was just baiting me, is all she was doing.
Setting you up.
And
plug.
great content. Great content.
It is.
If you're interested.
I've listened.
Yeah,
It's great. Yep.
Super.
And they make you
thank
laugh
you
too.
guys.
They're
They
good
make
at
you laugh,
making
yeah.
you laugh too.
Yep.
Yeah, good.
We sometimes know what we talk about, but generally we just make jokes. So it's kind of a weird mix.
We feel the same.
We don't know anything about
we
that.
feel the same.
We're very
Yeah.
serious
Yeah,
here.
I feel like we're
drone on real estate.
Peas in the same pod.
We're kindred
Mary and
podcast
Simon.
spirits,
Yeah.
I think.
Pod.
Yeah.
He's in a pod. Cat.
Oh,
Cute, Tim. See what you
that
did
was
there?
a good
Intentional
one.
pun. Well done.
Excellent. I love
It's
my
getting bad
Marys.
here. It's getting bad. Well, how about Mary's? Why don't you take over, Mary's?
Sure. So you have recently. Where were you living last?
We were in The Hague in the Netherlands for about 3 years
okay.
from 2019 just till this past August. We got
Right.
back here August 2021.
So you came back and bought a property for you to live in, or are you renting? What did you do? How was that transition back from internationally? I'm sure you do this a million times in your life, and it's no big deal. But to the rest of us, it's sort of that's a big deal moving back
Yeah,
and forth.
internationally, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even want to move to the
You're
next
right.
Yeah.
over the New Hampshire line. So
It was a big
It's,
deal.
It's always a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never nothing.
Right. Yeah.
exactly.
It's an incredibly stressful time.
Right.
I mean, it goes well. So what happens is, and I don't know if I think your listeners will be interested. Why not?
Yeah.
You basically, we did what Aria Concierge did. We bought a house here, the house I'm sitting in right now in Silver Spring, sight unseen. I mean, we had our realtor go out and take a video. You know, I looked at the due diligence and we made an offer and we bought it. And, you know, we were closing in 90 days. So I literally flew back here for 36 hours from the Netherlands to quote unquote occupy it so we could get a primary rate on it. So we wouldn't have to do a secondary home mortgage. And then flew back to the Netherlands and then we moved back. We lived in a hotel in Bethesda for about 2 months.
Wow.
Oh boy.
And,
Gypsies.
waited for our stuff to arrive on the slow ship from Europe.
yes.
And then once our stuff got here, we moved in. Yeah, so and in the meantime we had a baby and it's
Wow.
That's incredible.
Okay. Yeah.
So did you have the baby while living in the hotel, or
No, just,
no, very
just
shortly
after.
thereafter.
Okay, very good.
We were just out of
you
the
didn't close
hotel.
at the hospital.
Yeah, you didn't close at the hospital this time. Oh my gosh, what a crazy time for both of you, all three of you, I guess. Yeah.
It's been a ride, but I mean this is it. I mean you do try to normalize it because this is the lifestyle, you know, and like we deal with on my realtor side, I deal with almost exclusively Foreign Service officers because it's a life I know well. I deal with investors and Foreign Service officers, so it's two
Terrific.
things that I do
Right.
that I know well.
Yeah.
But we have the same scenario. Like I did 25 showings for one couple over the past 2 days.
Wow.
13 2 days ago, 12 yesterday.
Oh my
Wow.
They
God.
have exactly 2 days in town
Right.
Oh,
before
right.
they move overseas.
Yeah.
So it's a scramble.
Yeah.
So did you put an
Yeah.
offer in, or are you?
We are. We're going to put in an offer today.
Good luck. Good luck.
That's typical. You know, that's typical. They're like, hey, Tim, I'm going to be in DC this day, and
Right.
then I'm back out to Malaysia. So it's chaos, and
Yeah.
this is just kind of like something you have to kind of
Adds a
deal
sense.
with. And luckily, I kind of understand it, even though it's never easy.
Yes.
Can
You're
help
always
kind of hold their
learning.
hand through the process.
Right.
So do you think that's the biggest challenge of what you do is that you have this tight time frame to see everything possible, or what are some other challenges?
Yeah, I mean, so there's two different pieces of my business. I mean, the realtor side, that is probably, Mary, that is probably the biggest hurdle. Another one is exactly what Adrian and I went through by purchasing from overseas. Foreign service officers are very organized individuals. So when they know they're going to leave post and head back to DC, they want to get a house as soon as possible.
Right.
The problem with that is if you're getting a loan, you can't necessarily get a primary residence because the primary residence has to close within 60. You have to occupy the residence within 60 days. So one of my biggest hurdles is people that, you know, are leaving Asia and they need to be back here, but they buy a house. We go under contract and close 4 months out.
Yeah.
You know, and they put it under property management or have a family member mow the lawn or what have you. Like, how do we get that on a primary residence rate? So there's a lot of weird financing things, I think, is one of the biggest hurdles.
Yeah, because no one wants to do mortgage fraud.
Yeah. Well, also, that 36-hour stint he had to do, that just seems, crazy. Your wife is pregnant back home. You got to come here.
And it is going to be your primary residence. You just
It was. And it's just, we did it by the book, and like my wife is very by the book, and I tend to not be as by the book, but by coming back here and painting a wall, we had occupied residence.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, we met the requirements.
It really endorses what you do, though. The fact that like you can do it yourself for your own personal residence.
You live it and
you live it,
and
learn it,
help
teach
others.
it. Yeah, it's very. Yeah. That's nice. I'm sure that helps your clients down the line and to be able to say, listen, I've done this myself. I know how scary it is. In one of the highest stress time frames of a person's life when they've got a baby on the way,
and moving back to the States, it's fascinating.
Yeah. So how do you find your referral partners in all these different cities and towns around the United States?
Excellent question.
That was good old-fashioned cold calling, if you want to call it that. I mean, I wouldn't call it cold calling because you're calling to offer them business, but that was just a 6-month period of Lisa and I researching markets, starting with the big filter. There's 400 plus major metropolitan areas in the U.S. We said that's too many. Which one's cash flow? And then we started whittling it down. These cash flow. Which ones are friendly to landlords? These are. Which ones? Which ones are growing by population growth, which ones have job growth, which ones have millennial influx, which ones have highest appreciation values. And just putting all the major metro areas into that filter and kind of whittling it down, we got down to about 25 markets.
So just you answering this question, I think gives a giant insight and look into how you think and probably how I would expect you run your business and just help clients.
Yes.
That was just amazing. You not only because you had your hands up in like a funnel kind of a thing as you were funneling it down, but you were also explaining that really well. Yeah. And that was just really impressive.
Yeah, no, it is. And I love it. Like, I just think it's you see such a great big picture. And just from that one conversation you and Lisa had together, the next day you're in business together. Yeah. And that's kind of how we do things too. We like.
Right. It was an idea. We all said, yep.
Exactly. It was just a quick little idea and a conversation and a connection and hey, let's go start a podcast.
Yep. And this is how we can make it work. Yep.
Yeah. I love that.
Nope.
So good. Tim and Adrian own other properties as well, and they got actually started. You weren't a realtor when you started to invest. You did some DC, Baltimore investing, right? And then you just moved your residences. Yes.
Yeah, it was a weird time frame. And Mary, I don't know if you remember this, but you were actually instrumental in helping getting me into real estate investing. We had lunch when I first started. So if you'll allow me to go into my origin story.
Yes, please.
And the beginning.
Those are my favorite.
Yes, me too. You were born. Yes.
It started in the spring of 1980. No.
With a light flurry.
I was working, I'd always been, ever since grad school, I've been working W-2 jobs in various roles as sales for corporations, et cetera, in various industries. I was always decent at it. But there was a time about 7 years ago where very specifically the company I was working at and had been there for 6 years changed my commission structure overnight and set unattainable commission or unattainable sales goals, in my opinion. I mean, they were something I never hit before, and all of a sudden I had to hit those in order to not only make the money I was already making, but not lose half of my money.
Oh, wow.
And that was insane to me.
Yeah,
and it rocked my world, and I was like, this isn't right. Something is better out there. Yeah. And I might have Googled, how do I make money without a job? Or I might have Googled, what do people do when they realize working W-2 doesn't work? Something like that. Right. And obviously I stumbled upon, the old Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I dove deep. Yeah. And I just started reading everything I could about real estate investing, and all the light bulbs went off. And I was like, this is how they do it. Yeah. This is how people maintain their wealth. This is how people grow their wealth. This is how you don't have to trade time for money, et cetera, et cetera. And I remember, Mary, we had lunch in Georgetown, and I was just picking your brain. I was like, Mary, what do I do? Yes. What do I do? How do I do this? How do I do it? And she's like, slow down. First you buy a house for you and Adrian to live in.
Right. Okay. First you need to live somewhere. Yeah.
But yeah, I just got to looking into the numbers and looking into different financing options and networking with other real estate investors and talking to people that knew way more than I did. And we ended up, and again, cut me off if I'm being boring here.
Not
but
at
I'll
all.
get into
Nope.
how we started. Adrian had purchased a condo in Shaw that we still own today
It's
in
part
2010.
of DC.
Okay.
Yeah, Shaw, I'm sorry, the neighborhood of Shaw in DC.
Okay.
It's a primo location. It rents in, I get 20 requests every time it goes up for rent. I mean, everyone
Awesome.
loves it down there. It's a beautiful part of the city. We'll probably hold it forever.
Yeah.
And we were living there. And I said, we need a bigger house because we're about to have children and they can't live in a 2-bed condo. So we started looking at another house, actually the house that I'm under contract to sell right now in a larger neighborhood in DC, just a little bit north. And that's when I started. We ended up taking out a home equity line of credit on the Fifth Street condo, and we put the down payment fully from the home equity line of credit for our new row house and kept the condo. So now we're real
cool.
estate investors.
Yeah.
Right.
So we rented it out.
Boom.
And then I was just kind of off to the races. I was like, oh, that worked great. Let's keep doing that. And we did. We took out a little bit more. I mean, we got a huge home equity line of credit because Adrian had bought at the right time and it
Right.
had appreciated greatly. So we put a down payment on a triplex in Baltimore, and then we moved to the Netherlands. And then
Wow.
bought a couple properties while we were over there, and then got back here, and we bought a couple more since we've been back. And we'll just keep going until it doesn't make sense anymore, I think.
My goodness. How many properties do you have in your portfolio right now?
When we close on this quad in Kansas City, it'll be 12. Wow. 12 units.
That's awesome.
So, what's your one piece of advice if someone wanted to get started?
If it has to be one piece, I would say do it. And it sounds kind of frivolous and kind of silly, but I think we have clients come to us all the time that literally say, Tim and Lisa, I've been thinking about this for 12 years.
That's right.
And I'm like, do you understand how much money you could have right now if you would have bought 3 properties over that time period?
Right.
The analysis by paralysis, or paralysis by analysis.
Yeah.
Right.
Excuse me. I always get that wrong. It's
Analysis
very real.
paralysis.
Yeah. No, it is.
And
Yeah.
like I guess in tandem with that piece of advice is your first one does not have to be a home run. Buy a property.
Exactly.
Buy
Don't
a
be afraid
property
to
where
make a
it's not-
mistake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where if it's cash flowing negatively, probably not a good idea. But right now, if you're breaking even, that thing is going to pay itself off.
Okay.
So I would just say, and if you're scared, but you really see the merits in this, buy something cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, make a smaller mistake. Buy $100,000 house in Indianapolis. And you're putting $20,000 down on that. If you're in the position where you're looking at buying real estate, then you probably have $20,000.
Yep.
And real estate is a very forgiving asset class.
That's true.
If you hold it long enough, it's very, very forgiving. So you can have a bad 5 years and still make out like a champ in the end.
So, as part of your services, do you come up with a plan? Like, I have a client that he just bought his first house that he lives in a year or so ago, maybe 2 now. And he was thinking that he wanted to get into real estate investing. And his plan was to maybe buy one property every year. Do you have some sort of formula or system that you sort of live by yourself? I mean, you don't have to give away your secrets of your concierge business.
He does share it.
Yeah, I'm just, but I'm just curious.
book.
Obviously,
I'm
you
an
have a
open book.
plan.
I think, Mary, it's an excellent question because Lisa and I are big proponents of there is no formula. And I think that I hear this a lot. I don't know if you guys listen to the Bigger Pockets podcast, but there's very much people that will come to us and say, show me how to do this, step 1, 2, 3, 4. And I say, we need to back up. We need to figure out why you're doing this. What is your current situation? What is your 10-year goal? Are you close to retirement? Are you 32 years old and you're going to hold these for 30 years? There are so many factors that go in.
Yep.
There's assessing risk tolerance. There's assessing, aversion to risk. And just realizing why people get into this and what their goal is. If you want cash flow enough to retire from your W-2, that's a very different goal than saying, I want to have enough passive income by the time I'm 65 to not have to draw down from my 401k or what have you.
Okay.
So that initial conversation or conversations, it's usually significantly more than one, really getting to the core of what your goals are over, let's say, a 20, 30-year time frame and when you want these things to occur is the crux of what we do. And then, yes, there is a formula based upon what we find on that conversation.
Okay.
Another thing I'd like to say is that I'm a huge proponent, Lisa and I are both huge proponents of there is no one right way for everyone.
Right. I agree.
There's so many ways to be successful in real estate investing. It's just, it's immeasurable. And like some things sound crazy to others. Do I want to invest in notes? Do I want to invest in tax liens? You know, do I want to do flips? Do I want to do syndications? Do I just want to buy, like you said, Mary, like your friend, one property a year for the next 10 years? Those are all very different goals and very different actions that need to be taken, but they all work as long as you do them right.
Right.
They all work. So the formula kind of is based upon your why and your end goals, but we absolutely help you figure that out and then act upon it.
That's an incredible service in itself. Like that part is helping, because people can have the dream, right? But not really be able to focus down on what their actual goals are, what their motivation is. And it sounds like you guys really have a good handle on how to break it down and then lay out the right plan for that person. And that's
concierge right there.
giantly valuable. Yeah.
Tim, how do you price this service? How do you, I know that you had like 3 levels of kind of partnership with clients and now you're in the local area. So how is it that you and Lisa make a business out of this for yourselves?
Sure. Yeah. Great question. We have 3 levels of service. We have one that basically, we have one level of service that basically helps you decide if real estate investing is right for you or not. And we help you set your strategy. And if it is, fantastic. We release you into the wild. Do what you want. Here's our spreadsheets. We've shown you what to do. We've helped you assess your risk, et cetera. So it's kind of like a starter pack. Then we have what most people do, which we just call, we don't have great titles. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Silver.
No, we changed it, Mary. Oh, okay. Silver gold. We've gotten better. So that one's called Set Your Strategy. Then we have one that's just called Buy a Property. It's self-explanatory.
Right. I like that they're self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's good.
Easy
We
to
keep it
choose.
simple over here.
Simple is good. Yeah.
And that basically is everything that the first package is. Plus, we help you buy that property. We introduce you to all our partners. We introduce you to our lenders. We help you run the numbers. We help you with the title. We help you with going to the embassy to get notarized, et cetera, et cetera. All the weird little stuff that you have to do while closing from abroad. We help you do all that from, first discussion to closing on a property. And then we have one for our more experienced investors or people that continue to just keep working with us. They can kind of upgrade to the Build Your Portfolio package. And that's just basically full concierge services. You can have Lisa and I for a year, for any advice you need, any introductions you need, number crunching, what have you. So those are just fixed fee. You pay us there. And then we have referral networks set up with our partners across the country that vary greatly in terms of, if someone closes on a property there, we get referrals through Keller Williams that, funnels into the Aria Concierge. So it's kind of a 2-pronged thing.
Well, one thing I think we really need to make sure people know is that while you did do this for foreign service people a lot when you started, you'll do it for anybody right now.
Yes.
Anybody in the United States, anywhere,
Right, you don't have to live abroad
don't
to
have
use
to
your
live abroad.
services.
You can be in Massachusetts and we can hire your services to connect us with, whoever it is
Alabama,
in Florida or
yeah.
whatever.
Well,
Texas.
do you have exclusive referral partners, or if I brought you a client like this client of mine that wants to buy something every year, but it's just out of my scope of expertise, how would that work between us?
What we would do, and we do have that happen sometimes, like if you had someone that ended up closing on a property somewhere, we just do the 25% split is that realtors do.
Yeah.
We'd send you the referral form from my brokerage, you'd fill that out, and then we'd, on the closing on the Alta, the cut would go to your brokerage.
That's great.
That's kind of how we've been doing it.
Yeah.
It's all very. I mean, you guys know how confusing it is with everything going everywhere on the brokerage.
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
it's all over the
You
place.
want strictly by referral.
Yeah. I have a burning question, and maybe this is one that you don't want to answer. But what is?
I like these.
Yeah.
But what is the hottest, best market you're looking at right now in the country?
I'm gonna give you my canned response, Mary. Is it depends.
Yeah. Okay.
What are you looking for? It really,
Return on
appreciate
investment.
The question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's really, really hard to answer that. Are you looking for outsized gains in terms of appreciation potential? Are you looking for the most cash flow? Are you looking for the lowest property taxes? Are you looking for, where all the snowbirds are moving?
Right.
I mean, some of the hottest markets are Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay.
And then there's price points too, right? Like there's
Yeah.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
You can't find an investment property there anymore.
No.
It just won't work.
Yeah.
There's
Yep.
Seattle, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it. But like, I'm a big fan of like Birmingham, Huntsville, Kansas City. Obviously, I'm buying there right now.
Okay.
Indianapolis, St. Louis has potential.
Rust
Cleveland,
Belt.
if you can get in the right neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and that fluctuates. I mean, you ask me
Interesting.
again in 2 months, and I'll say it's a different city. You know, it's
Yeah.
Nashville, it's Memphis, it's
Right.
So when
It-
you're
it kinda
researching
depends.
these, do you ever go boots on the ground to these places to actually see, like, as you just said, if it's a good location, good neighborhood, it's worth it. But or is this all just, numbers research?
numbers research
Yeah.
and conversations, and that's a
Awesome.
great question. So that is something obviously we weren't able to do when we were working from abroad. And Lisa obviously still lives in Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
so she's not going to be visiting these cities. But when time permits, I like to get boots on the ground
Yeah.
myself
Yeah.
in some of the cities we work with most, just because it helps to walk the streets.
Right.
Like we are. Obviously, our business is based upon not having to visit. I might never see my properties in Alabama. I'd
Yeah.
like to someday, but if I don't, I'm okay. I haven't seen them yet.
Same here.
Interesting.
But yeah, I would
Yeah.
like to. If
Yeah.
time permits, I'd like to go to some of these cities for sure.
Because I
Nice.
think as local realtors, we get so focused on being, the hyper local agent or like local specific
Right.
and, know your
Local
area so
expert.
well. But it seems a little scary to, pick a place 2,000 miles away and be like, I think so.
Yeah, but I feel that way about even just Massachusetts. Like, I don't know the Springfield market,
True.
but I feel as though I could interpret the data
Yeah.
from
No,
MLS.
you're right.
I mean,
Yeah.
as any of us can that have been in real
Absolutely.
estate.
Yeah.
So,
And you
absolutely.
talk to people. I mean, it wouldn't be like you're just,
Right.
just kind of looking at the computer.
Right.
You talk to folks and
Yeah.
do more research.
yeah,
yes.
absolutely. So I get that. I have a question for you. What is one of your favorite books for investors?
Ooh, I'm going to plug my buddy, Chad Carson. Yeah, Retire Early with Real Estate. He's been on our podcast a couple times.
Okay.
And that's my favorite real estate investing book. It lays it out so easily, and there's numbers to back it up, and I'm a numbers nerd, and it highlights things where, if you're averse to debt, you don't,
Right.
you're kind of in the Dave Ramsey school of debt is
Yep.
bad. You can still do this. You can pay off properties with other properties, and he calls it the debt snowball. And it's just a phenomenal book. It just really
Okay,
lays it out
great.
from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gonna pick that
I
up.
will definitely
Yeah.
read that.
Because Amazon will just go right
That's right.
up. Thanks to you.
Yeah.
Tim, I was thinking as you were talking about different strategies and, what is it? Why do you want to invest? So Carl and I are in our 70s now, and every cent we take out of that 401k is taxed at 35, 40%.
Yeah.
So, that is versus if we took out a home equity loan on a property that we owned, that would be a very different story, right? The other thing that comes to mind is the issue of you have 2 young sons, and the whole theory of start a 529 or buy a piece of property and hold it for 12, 15 years and there's his education.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that too. Did I do it? No, I had to go become a realtor to pay for Berkeley College of Music.
Yeah,
And so I didn't do either of those. So I have to say it is. I know that you're talking about what other people have reported on and experienced, but the fact is, they're really true. They're really, really true. Carl and I are smart people, and we're hardworking,
Right.
and we're still giving away 40% of that 401k dollar.
Yeah, so
Painful.
stop getting ready to get ready to get ready.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just
Just
to
do
your
it.
point, just do
Yeah.
it. Yes,
do it.
exactly.
I mean, I think that's the most powerful thing you can say. Mary, that's a great illustration.
Yeah.
Like you can think about it forever, and you can, invest in the stock market. You can do dollar cost averaging. And I mean, I do that too, but at the same time, like if you're thinking about real estate investing, stop thinking and look.
Yes.
Right.
I can't say that strongly enough, and it may sound a little bit jerky, but like,
Nope.
I know so many people that have come to us and said, man, if I only would have done this. Not even so many people, everyone. that
Yeah.
comes to us said, if
Yeah.
I only would have
Right,
started
but there's
10
no
years
going
ago.
back.
Every
You can-
single person.
Yeah.
Coulda,
Going
shoulda,
back.
woulda.
And it's
I'm definitely in that category. Sorry.
So just Yeah, I mean, I think even Dave, and I don't know why I brought up Dave Ramsey twice on the podcast. I never even
I
listened
don't
to that guy.
like
Someone
it.
told me
Don't like
he said like last week, he said houses will never be cheaper than they are today.
Exactly.
And we'll say the same thing tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yep.
Because there's a 4 million housing shortage in this country.
Yep.
You know, like
20
inflation,
years
not inflation,
behind.
recession, no recession. People need a place to live, and there's not enough houses. I can't think of a more stable asset class. So like,
You're so right.
stop thinking and do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
exactly.
I'm sorry, I'm passionate about it.
No,
I love
that's
it.
great.
And it shows.
It just makes all the
great.
sense to me.
I
It
think
does.
that's so, that's sort of what we feel when people are wondering about their career choices. We're like, come to real estate. It's so good. There's so many options, so many possibilities, so much growth.
The sky's the
option.
limit. How
Sky's
about
the
that?
limit. I'm
There's no
sure we feel
ceiling.
similarly. It's the same thing,
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
takes your night and your day.
Yes. That
And your
is
weekends. What's a weekend? What's a holiday?
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was the 4th of July last weekend.
What was it?
It was.
It was
Someone
really,
told me.
So
had
Tim,
no
Don't work
Tim,
in
what
real
can,
estate unless you like vacations.
yeah,
Right.
that's right. And so Tim, how can we help you? I mean, are there ways that we can be of help to you and where you are down in DC, where you and Lisa, your work overseas? What can we do to help you?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. I mean, you're already helping, Mary. You sent a referral my way for the realtor business. So if you guys ever have anyone looking for primaries or investments in DC or Maryland, I'd be happy to help.
Okay.
For the Aria Concierge, go check out our podcast. I think we have relatively good content. The Aria Concierge podcast, our website, everything's the
That
Aria
name that's really
Concierge,
hard
so
to
look up the
remember.
Aria.
It really is a great
Yeah.
podcast, especially for
Yep.
all of us like real estate nerds.
Yep.
I couldn't probably get my husband to be interested in this podcast, but
Until he buys his first investment
until we're
property.
heavy in the investing. But
Right.
but it's really fascinating, and I learn so much every time I listen to it. So I appreciate your deep knowledge, yours and Lisa's deep knowledge,
And the sharing of it.
yeah,
sharing.
it's
Yeah.
really a great place to learn and laugh because you guys are just fun, great people. But it's a really, I really enjoy the podcast actually because I'm nerdy
I really
too.
appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
No, we love doing it, and I'm glad that you're getting knowledge out of it because
Yeah.
I do think like
Yep.
there's no secret squirrel over
secret.
here. Like it's just I want everyone to know how to do this, and that's why we started this company because it can be done, and we're here to help.
great.
So I guess another thing, if anyone's listening and says I'd really want to start real estate investing, or I've thought about it forever and it's been too long, schedule a call with us.
Yeah.
Like hopefully we can put a link in the show notes.
We will.
for
We'll
how
put a
to-
link in
We
the
absolutely will.
with the podcast.
Yeah, we'd love to talk.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
Any questions for us? Are you, when are you coming up to Groton and
Yes,
and
when
Westford
would you
and
like your tour of
Chelmsford?
Groton?
Yeah. When can I vote Mary for mayor of Groton?
President, I think we promoted you.
Very good. You're
I think
one.
it went from mayor to president real fast a little bit earlier today.
You missed the
World
president.
domination.
Watch out.
Thank you
No,
so much.
I want to pick your guys' brain. Sorry, I don't want to
Sure.
prolong this, but I want to pick your guys' brain on. I mentioned earlier like the precipitous turn from sellers to buyers market that I've seen here in literally 3 weeks, where it's like price drop, price drop, price drop, price drop, which we haven't seen in 3 years.
Yeah.
Is that the same up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just dropped a property. I mean, it's not as it's weird. I'll just say we're in a transition. It hasn't been like, okay, that's the point.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a slow burn of a change, an evolution of sorts. But yes, things have been sitting longer. There's no, offers due by Monday at 5, and you have
Right.
12 and all of that. So that's slowed down a little bit. Part of it could be just seasonal because this is the prime vacation time in Massachusetts anyway. So there's a little bit of that piece, but no, we've seen price drops, which
Yeah.
you said, we haven't seen in 2 years. I dropped one that's been on the market 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And we dropped the price $25,000.
Is that a higher price point house?
It's in the high 7s.
Yeah. So that's
That
what I was
sounds
going
right.
to say is I
That
think
sounds
the
right.
higher price point, maybe 7 and above, is really starting to slow
Yeah.
down and sit longer or go through the price drops.
Yeah.
I still see in that sort of primo price point, 400 to 500, it's frenzy, like a lot of people are
First time.
showing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
First time buyers.
Well, I think there was some buyer burnout, certainly, and then the interest rates didn't help. Everyone had to sort of step back and reevaluate what their buying power was
Yes.
when that was really volatile a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I also think that that when I this property that I have is in Westford, and when I looked at reducing the price, I looked at the other properties that had just reduced the price, and it was anywhere from one was like over $1 million property,
Yep.
and that reduced the price by like 1.7%, and then the others were like 2s towards 3. So we did about a little over a 3% price reduction because I don't want to be chasing it down.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we went a little bit bigger against, the other price reductions just so we wouldn't have to do that.
Have you
That
had
was
an
smart.
offer yet?
Not yet. We're
Not
having
yet.
an open house,
Yeah.
since we just dropped it yesterday. So.
Sure. Yeah.
And the other thing too is jumbos and arms are very affordable. So that will kind of pivot. That will kind of target some of that
Yep.
market, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
see a little bit of that. What are you seeing in DC in the metro area?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing you guys are. That's why I'm curious, because it's just, I mean, as a realtor, I have 1 million alerts set up on Realtor, Redfin, Zillow, and like I just get inundated with price drop
Price
10K,
change.
price drop 50K, price drop, and I'm like, whoa. I remember when that happened before, but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And like we're seeing inspections again. I'm in the
inspections,
middle of
yes.
negotiating an inspection.
The industry is
Like,
back. Yeah.
Right, inspections are
Right.
back,
The
guys.
inspectors
So
are
that's more
happy. I'll
paperwork.
say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the same thing. And it's just, I hesitate to say it's a great time to buy, but it's a much better time to buy than it has been in a long time.
Yes.
You're going to pay a little bit more, but you're going to get, a better price and more options.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
And more negotiation
it's
room.
more
you know?
room.
negotiation
Yeah.
room. You can, like I said, you can get an inspection again. You can actually negotiate
Exactly.
repairs.
I was
Yeah,
actually
like
just saying this to a friend of mine. I'm kind of excited to get into a buyer's market and like flex that negotiating muscle.
Exactly.
And, 'cause it's just been, all right, list agent, whatever you tell me, I'll do.
Right.
You know?
What do we have to do to get our offer accepted?
We'll give you our firstborn. on
Exactly.
time. Yeah.
I've given away every single one of my children at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
Funny.
Well, thank
It's
you.
a good change of pace. I
Yes,
think.
Yeah.
it is. It
good.
is.
It is good. Thank you so much, Tim. I
Yes,
so
Tim, thank
appreciate
you.
your time. I know how busy
My
you
pleasure.
are, and a pleasure. And thank you, and Aria Concierge, for everything that you do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And say hi to Lisa for us.
Yes,
Yes, indeed.
exactly.
Will do. Thank you guys so much.
All
It's
right.
been a lot of fun.
Thank
Okay.
you, Tim.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye, Tim.
Bye.
Mary, Mary, and Mary, so extraordinary.